Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to TCI Express Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectation of the company as on the date of this call. These statements are not the guarantee of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Naveen Agarwal, Head Institutional Equity at SKP Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of TCI Express and SKP Securities, it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you to this financial results conference of TCI Express Limited. We have with us Mr. Chandar Agarwal, Managing Director, and Mr. Mukti Lal, Chief Financial Officer. We will have the opening remarks from Mr. Agarwal, followed by a Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Agarwal.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Q1 Financial 22 earnings call of TCI Express Limited. I would like to thank all of you for taking out the time and joining us today. I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy. I will start with the industry and business overview for the quarter, and then I will hand over the call to our CFO, Mr. Mukti, to discuss the financial performance of the company for the quarter. Our earnings presentation has been uploaded on the website and stock exchange, and I hope you had a chance to review it. As we all know, it has been more than 15 months since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the country, and the pandemic has had a far-reaching impact on both personal lives and businesses. It has dynamically changed many business models across the industries and sectors. With the ongoing vaccination drive, the recovery momentum has started, but we were hit by the second wave, which had again impacted the economy, the economic recovery in Q1 Financial 22. During the quarter, the index for industrial production saw a significant decline in output for the month of April and May consecutively. Manufacturing was down by 12.5% in April and 10% in May, and similar trends were witnessed across key industries. Similarly, e-way bills generation, after reaching its peak in the month of March, had declined 17% for the month of April to 6 crores and 4 crores in May, and overall it was down 33% quarter on quarter. The logistics industry was impacted due to slowdown in manufacturing activity, coupled with the timing difference in the lockdown restrictions within states, had further impacted the interstate movement of goods. Despite the challenging market conditions, TCI Express was better prepared this time to mitigate the pandemic impact on the business and continue to deliver stable top-line performance while maintaining strong margins and profitability. Our revenue from operations stood at 223 crores, registering a growth of 151% year-on-year, but declined about 20% Q-on-Q. Our EBITDA was 34 crores, with margins remaining strong at 15% as compared to 4% in the same quarter last year. The EBITDA margin was lower compared to the previous quarter due to slightly lower capacity utilization of 83.5% in Q1 as compared to 86.5% in Q4. And this was primarily due to the different lockdown timing and restrictions in different states. And of course, the increase in employee costs because of the annual appraisals. However, it is important to note that our asset-light model and ownership of branches has allowed us to maintain strong margins and profitability even in the most challenging times. During the quarter, we have achieved another milestone as our Pune sorting centers had received the necessary regulatory approvals and is now operational. It will also improve operational efficiency by improving the turnaround time. We had incurred a capex of 16 crores, mainly towards Gurgaon sorting center, which is expected to be fully operational by Q3 financial 22, as communicated earlier. Furthermore, we have added 15 new branches, mainly in the north and western region, to cater to the growing businesses demand from the SME customers. In terms of expanding our service offerings, we are capitalizing on our experience and learnings from Surface Express and had recently launched 2 new services, the Cold Chain Pharma Express and C2C Express, and both have started to contribute to the top line. I would like to highlight that through our Cold Chain Pharma service, we have transported 50 lakh vaccines and 10,000 plus oxygen concentrators to the far-reaching corners of the country. Sustainability is a core pillar of our long-term strategy, and as our organization, we are committed to reduce our carbon footprint and start using renewable resources of energy. With this in mind, I am pleased to announce that TCI Express has become the first logistics company in India to install solar panels on its sorting centers. Pune will be the first to see that operational, and all the sorting centers will be energy self-sufficient going forward. Now, looking ahead, I am confident of the tremendous growth opportunities for the express industry due to the government initiatives in strengthening the industry, as well as investments in infrastructure development by the government to penetrate deeper in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Furthermore, vaccination drives are going on in full swing, and with the government, businesses, and individuals now being better prepared to navigate through the pandemic. We remain optimistic of the recovery as the economy grows from negative to positive, and the TCI Express is well positioned to cater to the growing opportunities and gain market share. I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Mukti to discuss the financial performance of the quarter. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Mukti.
Yeah, thank you, sir, and good evening, everyone. Now I would like to take it forward and discuss the financial performance of the company. So our revenue from operations stood at 223 crore for this Q1, as compared to rupees 280 crore in the previous quarter and rupees 89 crore in the same period of last year. Significantly higher as this time the country was under micro lockdowns, which helped the businesses to remain operational. However, interstate movement of goods was faced with the certain challenges. The revenue increased by 150% on year-on-year basis and declined by almost 20% on Q-on-Q basis. Our utilization level was 83.5% during this quarter as compared to 86.5% in the previous quarter. Our EBITDA was rupees 34 crore as compared to 4 crore in same period last year and 57 crore in last quarter. This decline in EBITDA was due to impact on top line as well as increase in employee benefit expenses on account of annual appraisal. However, we have been able to maintain strong EBITDA margin of 15% with our ability to pass through select cost to customer. Net profit for the company was rupees 24 crore with margin of 10.5% compared to 1 crore with margin of 1% in Q1 of FY 2021. During the quarter, we had incurred a capex of rupees 16 crore towards our Gurgaon sorting center, and we are focused towards making it fully operational in the next 6 months with automation. Our Pune sorting center is now operational from June, which has increased our capacity and focus on West region. I would like to reiterate that the fact that we have been able to maintain healthy cash flow despite the challenges faced, and during the quarter, we were able to generate cash flow from operations of rupees 34 crore. As we are an asset-light business model, we continue to strengthen our presence across the country and maintain a strong balance sheet and create value for our shareholders. So thank you very much. And now I would like to open the floor for Q&A. Over to you, please. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask any question may press star and one on their touch-tone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may please press star and two. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. To ask a question, you may please press star and one. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Anyone who wishes to ask any question may please press star and one on their touch-tone telephone. We have a first question from the line of Alok Deora from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Good evening. I just had a couple of questions. One, just wanted to understand how is the situation been on a month-on-month basis? Like, how have we seen any significant improvement from July onwards and some part of June as well? Because of COVID second wave impact had the impact had come down. So have we seen any sort of positive development there? And secondly, also the margins, while they are still healthy at around 15%, they have still come up by nearly the 19% levels which we saw in last quarter. So what's the sustainable margins now which we are looking at over this year and even the next year? If you could just highlight that.
So question one, situation month on month, yes, it is increasing. It is on the upward trend. I'm not seeing anything negative so far. Margins, you see, it is something, of course, dynamic of your overall growth. So since we had the lockdowns, we saw that the volumes had dipped, and of course, it's a function of that. So when we see the volumes pick up, we will also see the margins go up back to the same levels of 17 to 18%.
Sure. And sir, also, did we have any kind of impact due to the fuel price change? Because in the opening remarks, what we understood is it was mainly because of the employee cost increase. So any fuel price change also impact would be there in this 400 basis points drop which we have seen on a quarterly basis?
Very less impact of fuel, and the salary increments is very essential in these times, and I think we would be the only logistics company in India that would be doing that. So if you look at the trade-off, we did not substitute one for the other. We also gave increments, and we also passed on the diesel fuel price. So I think it was a good mix and match.
So customers actually, we were able to pass on the price increase. So
correct.
Okay, sir. Just last question from my side. Any change in our guidance or outlook based on how the first quarter has been? Because in Q3 and Q4 we had seen pretty strong, rebound, and the outlook
It's like this. Q3 and Q4 are perfect example of how the economy was behaving. So if the economy is behaving fine, then we will not be shy of 2-digit, early 3 figures. But early 30 figures, even 30. So I think it's all depending on the economic level of the country. And as it grows, we will also grow in tandem.
Sure, sir. So just one last question. What's the CapEx guidance for this year?
CapEx is still, we will maintain at about 100 crores or something.
Sure.
And yeah.
Okay. That's all from my side. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time and fairness to all participants, please restrict your question to 2 per participant. If you still have more questions, kindly join the queue afresh. The next question is from the line of Arpit Shah from Stallion Asset. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Chandraji.
Hi.
I had just one question. In the last call, you had mentioned that you want to double your business in the next 3 or 4 years, broadly, and your profits will probably go up another 3 or 4 times. I just wanted to understand how would that happen, because in Q4 we had margins of close to 20%, and that's the highest margin that we have ever made. So do we see the margins actually going to 25-30%, and you see a lot of optimal leverage play out in the next 3 or 4 years? How will we go 3 or 4 times? How will we go from 100 crore to 400 crore in the next 4 years?
So, first of all, the top line will be a component of the economy. And similarly, if we are going to double our revenue, which is, let's say, it will be about 1,800 or 2,000 crores, I don't know, in 4 years, 2,000 crores, then the margin on that would be, EBITDA would be around 400 crores. So I think, and Mukti, you want to also include your reply in this?
Yeah. So rightly said, sir. So we will be if we double our revenue, our margin will be almost 4 times of that. So supposing we are right now 1,000 crore, we will be make 2,000 crore revenue, and PAT level would be more than 300 crore.
300 crores would be the PAT level. Okay. And what kind of margins levels we more have? Like last quarter in Q4 we had a revenue of 80 crores and we did a margin 19%. I don't think that was a peak quarter for you, right? So typically a peak quarter, what percentage of margins the company can actually go to inclusive sorting center automation?
Your voice is not clear actually.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. In Q4 we had a revenue of 280 crores and we did a margin of around 19.5 to 20%. Okay? And I believe that was not the peak revenue for the company. If there was a peak revenue utilization and a peak utilization of your trucks, and we have sorting center automation also, what would be your peak margins look like? Would it be 20% or would it be higher?
So, in last Q4 was a, kind of a very good example. We have there the, right kind of revenue and right kind of utilization of our trucks. And we earned the 19% plus margin levels. So you will be seeing next, 3 quarters, we will be achieve even more than that. So whole year we want to keep the margin in a range of 17 to 18% the whole year. And our peak, by 2025, at least we want to be reach on a 22% kind of percent of EBITDA level. And in our case, EBITDA and PBT does not have any big difference because we don't have any interest cost, and depreciation cost is also not so high. So it will be directly contribute to my PBT and ultimately whatever comes as a PAT. So by this, we want to be also increase, this, it will be happen by 2-3 contributing factors. One is obviously we will be keep, increasing our annual prices with the customers. That is now a standard practice in our company. And second thing, utilization of trucks. Last quarter we have done around 86.5. So we want to be first to be reach in the range of 89 to 90%, and which is achievable. Yeah. So that way.
And what kind of competitive advantage TCS Express is building against some of the PE-funded players in the express space? So some of these players will be entering where you are present. What kind of competitive advantages we are building around that? And any kind of technology that we are using, any kind of technology we're implementing so we can get a larger number of clients which are there.
We are actually not beating. Nobody is entering the B2B space. I mean, everybody is into the B2C space. Even the latest listing by that food delivery company is in B2C. And all the other PE players are entering B2C for last mile delivery, which also has a short-term run rate. So I think B2B is still very difficult to enter, to operate, and technology is something which is, at least in TCI Express, it is the foundation and the backbone of doing business. We use AI and data analytics, without which we cannot function. If you log into our ERP, it's all that information available, and that's possible through data analytics. And we are now looking at also getting artificial intelligence for deciding the branch, distances and which customer mapping and all of that. So the technology is all integrated. The CRM is integrated with data analytics, which is integrated with, GPS, which is integrated. So it's all integrated. Nothing is standalone. And if that answers your question.
Got it. Just one last question I had. Regarding a new fleet, which is going to be a much larger.
I can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you talk a little slowly? Yeah.
Yeah. We are planning to include a larger fleet, larger trucks for our fleet. And I think so we have optimized around 45 to 47% of our fleet has a new dimensional truck, which broadly adds to your margins. So where are we on that?
I didn't understand. I didn't get the last part. What were you saying? I heard the large fleet, 45 something.
So we are planning to have larger trucks in our fleet, right? And I think so by Q3 we had added around 45 to 47% of our trucks. Hello.
My apology, but your voice is not clear. Kindly, please.
Mr. Shah, I would request you to please, disconnect and reconnect and come back in the queue.
Yeah, kindly.
Sure.
Very much. Anyone who wishes to ask any question, may please press star and 1. We have a next question from the line of Dhruv Jain from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
So I had 2 questions. One was a data keeping question. If you could just share the tonnage for this quarter.
Yeah. So tonnage for this quarter is 1.75 lakh ton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And sir, I had a question on the branches. So I see that in this quarter as well, we've added about 15 branches, and over the last, we have been on a branch expansion mode. So I wanted to understand, how does the maturity pattern of this branch behave? As in, when does a branch typically hit a peak revenue? And how do you see this number of branches expanding as you take the path of 2,000 crore revenue in the next couple of years?
Yeah, Chandra sir.
No, I didn't understand. Like the 2,000 crore what revenue? How will I get branches?
What is how many branches do you look to add? Are you looking to add over the next couple of years? And wanted to understand that when does a branch typically, after you set up, in which year it hits kind of maturity level in terms of say, it hits the peak kind of revenue?
So peak depends on the economic activity, first of all. So there is no set timeline or it's not like a run rate where you hit a certain business volume and it will stop growing. So like that, it's continuous. Number 1. Number 2, how do we plan our branches? Was that your question?
Yeah, how do you plan your branches, and how many branches do you plan to add in the next few years?
So next 2 years, we are planning to add about maybe 200 to 250 branches. And how we are adding them is based on where the manufacturing companies are coming up, and the SME companies are situated.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A reminder to the participant, please restrict your question to 2 per participant. And anyone who wishes to ask any question, may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Shalini Gupta from Ashika Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, because see, during the quarter, we found that a lot of so and you have delivered like 130%.
Now I can't hear you. I don't know what is happening.
Ma'am, there's some network issue. We are losing you in between.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. So, I was just asking, so through the quarter also, we had a lot of lockdown. So, how come, and SMEs and MSMEs are the majority of your business. So, how come they were not impacted? Because finally, everybody's business was impacted because of lockdowns, which, the lockdown itself started in May, but offices were shut before that as well. So, if you could just please explain that.
So the kind of SMEs that we deal with are not the ones, who are mom and pop shops who deal in cash. They are far larger manufacturing companies. And even if their offices were shut, at the back end, the plants were operational. So that's not an issue. And we saw that, again, the same situation, that the SMEs were first to bounce back, and compared to the larger companies. The larger companies also had their annual maintenance shut down, in the months of, they used that lockdown period for the annual maintenance lockdown. So a lot of the activity we saw with the large companies, auto companies especially, scaled down. But SMEs were, active, and we really benefited from having them. And SMEs is not our large scale of our business, it's 50%.
Okay. And sir, my second question, last question is that, this the business you're in, which is logistics, B2B also, is hyper competitive. And you earlier in the call you had said that nobody is entering the B2B space, the express logistics. So I could not really hear your answer. If you could please just help me understand as to where your competitive edge lies in this hyper competitive industry.
Our competitiveness lies in B2B, which requires a hub and spoke model. And to build a hub and spoke model, it requires, first of all, before billions of dollars, it requires knowledge, local country knowledge, which billions of dollars cannot buy. So I think that is something which is very difficult, and to approach manufacturing companies. And to create a sustainable model which can go through these tumultuous times, and when the times are good, to kind of ride the wave, is very important to build that business that way. And B2B business is something which also depends on manufacturing, mostly on manufacturing. So as long as the manufacturing is stable, is growing in the country, B2B business will also grow.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participant to ask a question. You may please press star and one. The next question is from the line of Rahul Soni from SMIFS Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Thanks for taking my question, and congratulations for the good set of numbers. So couple of questions from my side. First of all, what is your current tonnage handling capacity, and how it will move over next 2 years post the operationalization of your new sorting center and addition of new branches?
Mukti?
Yeah. So Rahul, this is basically, if you see, all sorting center are not the storage center. They just are, sort. They have to be metal come in and out. That is the only function we have. So question is that how we will be make them as a more efficient, and that's why we are putting automation. Started to putting automation in this center, and like example, supposing a one-time metal is staying like 15 hour or idle time is 15 hour. Our endeavor to bring it down to 6 to 8 hours. So that way, in the same capacity, we will be move the more revenue or more tonnage. That's the one aspect of that. And second aspect of our trucks. So trucks addition is also very dynamic. In this quarter, this truck utilization level was 83.5%, and in last quarter it was around 86.5%. And our endeavor to in next 2-3 years, we want to be reach on utilization level of these trucks level at least 89 to 90%. So this way we will be keep our cost under control and further bring it down. So like our operating margin this time is around in last year we achieved 33.5%, which we now planning to in this year to achieve at least 100 basis point more, like 34.5%. Yeah.
Okay. And sir, if you can provide some more details on your revenue breakup side, like what was the breakup between your SME and corporate client, and also in terms of sectoral exposure?
Mukti?
Yeah. So here, revenue is from SME and corporate, it is almost 50-50. And we also want to be keep that ratio. Though profitability with the SME customer is higher than, higher than corporate customers. But yes, obviously big customers giving this, corporate customer giving this volume, big volumes, and small customer is giving the good prices. So we have to be, maintain this mix and match. And another aspect of sectorial is this, the 55%, revenue is coming from top our 5 sectors. And these are basically auto, pharma, engineering, textile, and, electronics. So these are the major 5 sectors we are, catering.
So the contribution of this sector was more or less same compared with the March quarter?
Yes, that we also want to be maintained. We don't want to be, depend on a particular one sector. And that is actually a strength of our company. We want to be, 3-4 kind of diversification. One is number of customers, SME versus corporate. We want to be maintain a good balance. Second one, diversification of sectoral revenues. That is also we want to be depend on one particular sector. Third one, zone-wise revenue, we also not depend on a particular zone. It is highly widely, diversified in each zone. And fourth thing, on supplier side also we are not depending on particular, supplier or route or vendor. We are highly again diversified that sector also. And that is always help us to, come through with the all kind of challenges and ultimately help us to improve our margin levels continuously. And it will be, this show will be continue to go on, time to come also.
Sir, one last question on your gross margin.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Soni. I would request you to please come back in the queue.
Okay.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Alok Deshpande from Edelweiss Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Alok, please.
Yeah. Good evening, Mukti. Good evening, Chandra. My question.
No, your voice is...
line just got dropped.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll move on to the next question. That is from the line of Dipesh from Equirus Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Thank you for taking my questions. Sir, your rental cost in FY21 was around 30 crores. So just want to understand what will be your savings in FY22 once your Pune and Gurgaon both commence operations. On an annualized basis, if you can give that number, please.
Yeah, so I think this year we will have the same kind of cost because sometime some percentage of increase is also happening. Plus we are also expanding branch network. So we will keep adding the branches, and that rental will also be, time to time is adding. So it may be more or less maybe same, or like, Gurgaon we will add on after in Q3 basically. So we will not be able to save the rent for the full year. Pune we add on like, last month of this Q1. So this way, I think we will keep the same kind of amount wise, yeah.
Got it. And then going forward, say in FY22 or 23, which locations are you targeting for creating bigger sorting centers?
Yeah, that is very good question. So next target would be like Chennai, Nagpur, Kolkata, Mumbai. So these are the major locations we are planning to have in next 2-3 years.
Oh, got it, sir. And sir, you have given that you have transported around 50 lakh vaccines and all those numbers, but can you give what kind of revenues from your new service offerings, that is C2C and cold chain, did you see in first quarter?
So revenue is, not significant to be disclosed right now. But yes, we are gaining the market share and our complete focus on pharma industry only. We are not going for other like food industry and all. So our complete focus on pharma basically. So we are gaining market share and also adding the customers in this sector.
Got it, sir. And sir, any rate card increase you have taken for this year as you do every year, like the base rate card increase apart from the fuel inflation?
Sorry, come again.
Any rate card increase that you take every year apart from the fuel inflation that you pass through? Any base rate increase that you have taken for this year or you are planning to take this year?
Yeah. So this is very good question. So we have really increased around 2% impact is there for rate hike with the customers.
You already taken in April and May, you're saying?
Yeah. In this Q1 I am talking about.
Okay, great, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Kunal Bhatia from Dalal & Broacha. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity and congratulations on a great set of numbers. Sir, just wanted to know in terms of volume. So last year, same time, we had a total volume tonnage of 73,000 tons, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, correct number, yeah.
Okay, and sir, how about in Q1 FY20?
20, I don't know. I need to check it. I will separately give to you, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so my second question is in regards to after the Pune sorting center, what would be the total what will be the total square feet which we would be having? And secondly, also you did mention about the improvement on the turnaround time. So if you could give some sense on that, what is it currently and how has it improved? And
Yeah,
sir.
Yeah, so on Pune sorting center, we just started on last month of this quarter only, in June only. And there is area around 1.5 lakh square feet. And this automation has yet not put in this center. First, we will put the automation in our Gurgaon one. We also mentioned in our last call that we updated that thing. Firstly, we will put the automation in Gurgaon. Then subsequently we will put in Pune. So I think we will be able to put the automation in next year. Turnaround time, yes, it is very early to say something because it just started in this Q1. So I think revenues will be, once this volume will be pick up in this quarter or subsequently, then we will be get that benefit. Certainly, we will be, I think, get the benefit of 50 basis point in overall cut in my cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so just finally wanted to just reconfirm, you did mention that at about 2,000 crores of revenue, say by FY25, what kind of EBITDA are we expecting?
So we are expecting an EBITDA of in the range of 21 to 22%. That time.
21 to 22%. Okay.
Yeah.
So from a 142 crores which we have in FY21, we are expecting about
400 crore plus.
420 crores. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepak Lalmani from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So my question was on the H2 numbers. So as the economy is on a gradual recovery, what is the kind of growth that we are seeing in the H2 of this financial year, given that last year the base was set quite high for our company?
Yeah, Chandra sir?
So I will say that, if you look at the growth for this year in H2, if it's in the range of 7 to 8%, I'm not sure. I don't know what will be the impact of third wave, when it will be. People are saying it will be before Diwali. So I don't know. Very hard for me to comment yet. But going forward, I think if things are in progress, then I feel that we would have growth, top line growth, definitely, and bottom line will be accordingly.
Okay, got it. And sir, the value-added services which you have added in cold chain and C2C Express, what will be the contribution of these services in H2?
So again, it's very difficult to say. If the third wave comes in, things will be a big question mark. But our goal is to maintain our profitability for this year, what we have given, the guidance that we have given, and also the top line. So, but as a product-wise, I do not see much of a challenge in growth.
Got it, sir. Thank you. That's it from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Preet from Wilson Reserve. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I think the only question left for me to ask was, are we right now at, say, 86% utilization or still at the 83% mark?
No. So that was a very temporarily we have in a Q1 because we faced the challenge of timing difference in each state for the lockdowns. Last year, you can say we may be fortunate or we were fortunate or unfortunate. All India was equally closed down or under lockdown. But this time, there was a highly difference. Side like North India and West region may be open up, then South is going slightly longer for that because they have the more cases there. And still they are under pressure or under lockdown situations in some places. So that's where this utilization level has been come down to around 83.5%. And in July onward, we already reached on a pre-Q4 level.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, one other comment is that recently Gati has mentioned that they are also looking to follow a similar strategy of automating their sorting centers and spending a lot of capex on that. So I remember in the past calls, I think Chandra, if you had mentioned that you may be looking out to acquire Gati's customers and hopefully increasing the top line via that route as well.
So
any
we are
insights into that?
definitely all out in getting our competition customers because they are not they are having a lot of internal issues. All competition has a lot of internal issues with corporate governance, with finance, with a lot of other issues that they have. And what that company what they announce and what they actually do are very, very different. So you will see over time as to what they're going to do because and what they have announced. How much of a match or a mismatch is in that. That's all I can say for that competition.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Krupa Shankar from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Just one question from my side. So wanted to understand on your next capex leg, wherein you're setting up sorting centers in Chennai, Nagpur, Kolkata, and Mumbai. Just wanted to get a sense that at present are these sorting centers operating at full capacity, and in terms of turnaround time, what you're anticipating on a 50 bips or perhaps in the Pune sorting center, would it be fair to say that around 20 to 50 bips would be the expansion in the incremental sorting centers getting modernized? Is that a fair assumption to make?
Yeah. So Krupa Shankar, you rightly asked that. So whenever we will be go on a newer one, we will be put our effort to make them automated from since day one. And yes, you rightly said, whenever we will be improve our efficiency, and turnaround time will be faster for that. And ultimately, how it will be works. So like one truck is idle for my sorting center like 7-8 hours right now. Tomorrow, supposing it will be only idle for the 4 hours. So it will be reduced from 8 to 4. Ultimately, their trip in a month will be increased. And they will be whatever they, say on that side, they will be passed on to us. So that is the one thing. Second thing, my, customer experience will be also, increased. So that's why we will also able to get the right kind of price in future. In continuously, we will be able to get that. So we have very internal, strategies to how will we make this as a success story, and get the right kind of achievements. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand on that part. But my question was like improving the turnaround time in one sorting center is a fair thing, justified. But wouldn't the efficiency would come in if when you're pairing your hub to hub, and both the hubs are operating in an efficient manner? So my question was more relating to, it's fair to say that as and when you add in or modernize more and more sorting centers, that is when you would see a significant portion of margin expansion coming through. Is that a fair?
It works also independently, because you see that every sorting center is also an operational excellence hub, where material is coming in. It's like an airport, where planes are coming in from different cities and departing for different cities, arrivals and departures. So the faster you can do arrivals and departures, you can save on labor cost also through automation. So there are multiple factors that we have to look at. And if my north is able to speed up the turnaround time, then the material will reach faster to South India, to West India, to East India. So overall, one sorting center will start giving that benefit also. So when you have a culmination of all these other sorting centers, for sure, it will be giving out a very good result.
Okay, got it. And one other question was on the revenue guidance. Sorry if I missed it. Last time around for FY22, you had guided for a 40% revenue growth for FY22. So is there any revision in the guidance?
Not really. We are stick with these guidelines, what we have given, because we are not seeing any significant reduction in our revenue in Q1, and hopefully Q2, Q3, and Q4 would be robust for us. So we will be keep intact on that.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ronald Sioni from Sharekhan. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sir, I just wanted to understand the competitive dynamics, like when Gati had lost market share and Safe Express had picked up and became a leader. So at that point of time, whether it was the only company to increase the market share significantly, or were we also be proportionately able to increase that share? This is the first thing. And second one, yeah, if you can.
So definitely our market share will be the highest in the country in time to come, because we know the underlying problems, as I mentioned before, with the competition. They have a lot of issues, and which easily said then can be done. To clear out their past problems, they will take another 3-4 years. And I can comment on them or anyone. They have management issues, they have finance issues. A lot of issues are there. Technical know-how is missing. Strong management issues. Strong management is missing. Where is the driver of a company? What is his background? Is it in international freight forwarding, or is it Express India and Indian Express? A lot of things matter, in that sense. And we are now geared already for a higher market share. We have always been conservative in declaring our market size because of the unavailability of data. But as I go forward, in collaboration with NITI Aayog and all the other industry data, I'm quite sure that, by H2 end, I would have a fairly bigger market share than other competition.
So you also are including the market leader in these comments, like
absolutely. There's no doubt about that. The simple thing is, when you increase branches, what happens? How many companies have you heard in the country that in 5 years they have announced, they have opened so many branches, or they're doing this sort of action? Everybody is talking only about getting out of their problems first, and then only will they be able to establish themselves in the market. So your first comment about, some other taking on the business, sure, that company possibly took on the company of, the business of the company which was not doing well. But at what price? What pricing? That pricing was also, you have to look at now. If you study the data correctly, that pricing was for throwaway price, lower than FTL pricing. So that sort of thing is not required to do market share, unless you want to be a Zomato. And you have 4,000 crore losses or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, and the second one would be like going ahead. Like everybody is targeting SME segment and SME revenues. So going ahead, what do you see, like shift of market share between the players getting the growth, or market itself?
I'll tell you one thing, very clear example. You had a Rivigo which tried to take market share from everybody. And what did the SME customer do? He folded his hands and said, please, we cannot work with you, and they all came back to us. Same thing when these companies, new companies or the old companies, try to get into the SME sector, there is a certain degree of knowledge that you need to have for doing that business, which companies like what you have mentioned do not have that. They don't have that approach, the branch approach. They have maybe the franchise approach. Now, when you have a franchise approach, the SME does not usually go very easily to the franchise in the express trucking business. So I think that is a big factor, and you have to look at the organizational structure also, as to how the SME reacts.
Yes, sir, that clearly explains my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ayush Madani, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, sir. So I wanted to have a query on the couple of queries. So like I heard, a BlackBuck is also in the trucking. So it's a startup. So I've seen that it is a model of like asset-light model. Everything is same for BlackBuck and TCI, mostly on most parameters. So, and although it is not profitable, but we are profitable as a TCI. So how do we see the competition from, like you said, Gati and all their management and all those issues? But BlackBuck is a youth of starting up, and it has got customers like Vedanta, Tata Asian Paints, and recently, a week back ago, they received a good amount of funding also. So how do we see the competition like these such type of startups? Like
Right. Mr. Ayush, let me tell you about the industry. In express industry, we do not have the need of something like a BlackBuck. BlackBuck is a vehicle provider. If you have different fleet, you have like truck walas. They deal with the truck walas and then they provide to the transportation companies or anyone who wants their trucks. They provide that. So they do not have any customers as such. And if any customer like a logistics company like ours never uses BlackBuck because their pricing is, again, it could be more than pricing. It's the question of stability that the truck that they provide, if it's usable or not usable, if it's there or not there, if they can steal the material or not, their theft. So their business model is totally different. It is not at all in sync with what we are doing. Ours, we have the customers in our hand, we have the operations in our hand. They are a company which is run on computers, which basically tries to match buyers and all that. So that's a clear-cut distinction of what they are doing and what we are doing. They do not have a hub and spoke they do not have a hub and spoke mechanism. So that's number one point. And second is that funding, sure. They are like the other companies which are in the limelight for getting funding and getting unicorn status. But here we have a different goal altogether. We want to create value for shareholders by actually giving dividends.
Okay, thank you. That was from me.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hatem Rochwala from Union Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. Sir, my first question is on the new businesses which we have sort of introduced. So I can understand that we cannot give any near-term guidance, but even it will be helpful if you can give some sort of long-term guidance on the new businesses.
Yeah. So we actually, we also mentioned in last time, we want to be that other services, including everything, next 4-5 years, we want to make them around 20 to 25%. Right now, we have around 10%. These are the other services. And that's why, yeah.
So what all is included in other services apart from that cold chain and the other business which we have launched? What is all included?
I am talking about surface and non-surface. So surface we have around 90% business, and 10% we have the air and other all including. Air domestic, then air international, and then cold chain. Now this is pharma cold chain and C2C.
Sir, just to understand cold chain storage and C2C, the margins, will it be same as...
storage. It's not cold chain storage.
Sorry, cold chain transportation.
Express, yeah.
And the C2C business, that will be what sort of margins one can expect? Is it the same as our existing business, or it will be different than existing business?
Yes, margin is whatever business we are going to start, we will be keep in mind the margin has to be improved from the current level. So we never compromise on a margin level. So whatever we are adding on, it has to be on the same level or, even more than that from the current levels.
Okay. So my last thing is I was not able to get this tonnage number for this quarter.
Yeah, it is 1.75 lakh ton.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ravi, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So my question is slightly from the longer term. So apart from our core business growth plans, what are the government initiatives and policy change can really boost not just our company's business, also the overall logistics sector?
So government should focus on fuel pricing, and number two, the quality of trucks that we have in India.
Okay. Anything which you have mentioned in your presentations repeatedly, like modal pass and national logistics?
Sorry?
So, I was hoping some light on which you mentioned in the presentations, multimodal logistics parks and national logistic policy.
Yeah. So these initiatives, whatever government is taking now, this is very helpful for the road industry, and government is also putting their highest budget outlay on road sector development. They have started Make in India initiative. Then they also increase the axle load in trucks. Third one, they also putting highest effort to bring up this all SME or SMS SME, and so these ways you see there, and also now is a new one is a PLI scheme. So these all things will be improve the manufacturing in India, and ultimately it will be benefited to express companies like us for the long term. Yeah.
All right. Just one small question. So if I'm not wrong, we launched the Cold Chain Express this year only, right?
Sorry?
We recently launched Cold Chain Express, right? We were not offering it last or before that.
Yeah. We just offering. Started in the last quarter. Yeah.
So any particular reason which stopped us from offering the service before the, let's say, COVID or COVID era, or before the vaccine opportunity arose?
I could not understand your question. What you're saying? Your voice is not clear, actually.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to understand what stopped us from offering the cold chain services before COVID and vaccine opportunities.
Yeah. So the simple reason was that we were doing pharma logistics, pharma express, and the demand of cold chain came now only. Earlier, before this, there was not much demand for the cold chain pharma express. So because of that, we started now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a next question from the line of Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks for taking my question, and congrats on a good set of numbers. So my question is on cost. I'm just trying to understand the cost element a bit more on the other expenses ex rent. I think the biggest contributor for cost savings last year was the declining travel expense. I think it dropped from 10 crores to 2 crores. Now, as revenue ramps up, how much of this will come back and how much of this is sustainable is what I wanted to understand. That's my first question. Second question is also on the square footage that we have today, both on under owned as well as under rented category. If you can give the numbers, current numbers, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, very good question, Abhijit. So on other expenditure side, you rightly said we have very good reduction of all another expenditure, like almost we have reduced more than 20%. And in this year, this tempo will be continue, and still we will be low what we have in FY20 before COVID period. So I think we will be maintain that, because now whatever we have done on a sustainable basis. Like we have done virtual meetings, we have done virtual tour, virtual conferences, virtual training. So virtual docket receipt and virtual billing, digital billing, digital collection. So various things we have done for the permanent and for the longer term. So I think we will be what expenditure we incurred in 20, we maybe reach even in by 23 or 24.
Oh, okay. That's great. Yeah, that's great. And in terms of area that we have under owned and under lease category as of say FY21 or Q1.
Yeah, it is actually it is not important for us. We are not gauging this in on this basis actually. We're just saying ki how we can be make our turnaround time reduce on that. So area for us is not so much important. Important is ki how we can be make improvement in efficiency and ultimately reduce the turnaround time of that, because there is no storage facility we have. So how fast we can be through the material, that is important for us.
Okay.
So we really not looking these figures in internally also, so much.
Right. Got it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be taking last 3 questions now. The next question is from the line of Rahul Soni from SMIFS Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for opportunity again. Sir, I just wanted to understand one thing regarding the gross margin. Despite the increase in the revenue during the last quarter, our gross margins have declined by 315 basis points, while our realizations have moved compared to last year. So have we not been able to pass on the full price increase during this quarter?
No, so you are comparing with the Q4?
No, comparing with last YOY.
No, so Y-on-Y basis you can't be compared, because that time revenue was, revenue was very low, and that time we achieved a gross margin on 36%, and that was temporary because all India was closed down. So we full the capacity utilization level was very high on that time, and mix of material was also different actually, because sometimes mix is of different sector is also important. Some sector is giving the good profitability, some sector is not giving. What kind of return load we have, so various factors has worked there. So in now we are very clear, and we are able to, whenever diesel is increasing, even it is a positive arbitrage for us always, because we are getting the right kind of increase from the customer, and in turn or in vis-a-vis we are not passing on the same kind of to our supplier side also. We have some gaps there, obviously, because so like supposing diesel is increasing 10%, so we will be try to get 10% from the customer, and in turn we not will we give to the suppliers like equal to 10%. We maybe give like 6% or 4%. I'm just giving an example of that. Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Preet from Wealth Finvisor. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Can you give some comments on the progress on the automation? So you mentioned that Gurgaon is where the automation will be carried out first, right?
Yeah.
Now, what is the because given the lockdowns and all, are there any delays in getting that?
Hello.
Yeah, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Preet.
So take on the next question.
Yeah, sorry. I just got you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, yes, it is rightly said. We will be first put in Gurgaon, and it is not delayed. It will be operational in a Q3.
So when you start Q3, you will operationalize, and it will operationalize as an automated center?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Radha Agarwal from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sir, thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to know if you could just reiterate your revenue guidance for FY22 and FY23.
So revenue we are targeting, in the range of 35 to 40% over 21, and in subsequently we want to be in a like 18 to 20%, like by 23.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. As there are no further questions from the participants, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Chandra Agarwal for closing comments.
Thank you everyone for your participation, and I am delighted to continue offering the best express service in the country with my well-established team. And I look forward to having a call again next quarter. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
On behalf of SKP Securities Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now disconnect your lines.